But it took Obama. I mean, even Pascal and I were kind of shocked. And I still believe this, that if Kamala Harris could have debated Trump all over the country, I don't
Mm,
know if she wins, but I think it ends up a little different for him. There's a reason why he didn't want to talk to her again after that first debate. He didn't want to deal. He couldn't do the same things he did to Hillary Clinton. As
right.
someone once described Hillary Clinton to me, "Oh, she's the first wife. No one likes the first wife." And I couldn't stop laughing after I heard that, and I can't stop seeing it whenever I see her. But Pascal and I were shocked when Kamala Harris was kind of thrust into that position
Yeah, because we
because
thought
we
the
thought it was
Democrats
over.
would have been smart enough to realize that identity politics one trick bag, that they shot their load with that with Obama, and that
Yeah.
going to try
Yeah.
to deal with Kamala. Come on, man, no one's going to fall for that, and no one did.
Well, I think they would have if it was combined with some real material substantive policy. And I want to be clear as someone who has reported on working class Black people out here, and working class Black folks all over the country, and working class issues in general. Obviously, when you look at the reforms that the Democratic Party was pushing, it is 20 times more responsive to the needs of working people than the Republican Party is. So I was following canvassers door to door throughout the summer who were trying to get people out to vote, and this was a part of my reporting work. And they're bringing up the fact that they have lowered prescription costs. And so you've had elderly Black people in public housing who answered the door and they're like, yeah, I mean, I'm voting for Kamala. Before it was Joe, I'm voting for Joe. Yeah, I actually appreciate the fact that my prescription costs got lowered. I appreciate the fact that, later on, Kamala Harris was talking about having this long-term health aides at home. My family needs that. I've had to deal with this issue for the last couple of years with an aging grandmother. So
Mm.
there are things that working people can identify with. But when you are looking at just the devastation
Mm.
wrought by these greedy companies who, a mix of the market principles and just responding to the market, but so many of them who have gone offshore to get low wage labor, so many of them who've gone down south to get low wage labor. There is just so much joblessness in this region. It is astonishing to me that that has not become a bigger story. So in Wisconsin, there was a period after the Great Recession where the Black male joblessness rate was like 56%, like 40, it was something like 45% in the 40s of Black men who had a job. Like, can
Mhm.
you imagine? Like, that's a Great Depression. So we cannot treat a Great Depression with
Learn how to code.
learn how to code, invest in
Yeah,
crypto.
learn how to
What
code.
money?
Yeah.
Or just thinking about the Democratic Party overall, since the 80s and 90s where they're pushing this welfare reform, let's give you some job training. With what jobs? Where the jobs at? People want to work. People actually do want to work. Where are the freaking jobs?
Well, they're here in Mexico. That's where they are. You want to work in a factory? You come down here. You're not going to make a lot of money, but
Right, cross the border.
yeah, that's where the
Yeah, I
jobs
mean
are.
with
Also, learn
NAFTA,
Spanish. Yeah,
they might get what, $2 an hour?
maybe.
That's better than zero, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, if that's what you want to do, but that's where the jobs are, and they
They're
moved
here.
down here for a reason.
So they do exist, but through
Yeah.
their policy, they move, and people are aware of that. Even if it's on an informal level, folks know the jobs left. They signed NAFTA. Everyday people can tell you about NAFTA, even if they don't know all the policy provisions.
I noticed that in your piece that a lot of people had noticed. I think because where you at Milwaukee is also kind of part of the Rust Belt.
Oh,
People don't think of California as a Rust Belt city because most
mm,
people don't know that in Southern California it was a major hub of auto manufacturing. I believe it was number 2 next to Michigan. Um, so when that dried up, you
mm.
know, the riots happened soon after. So being in a place like Wisconsin where you can see kind of the empty factories, I mean, Milwaukee's kind of a sad city
It's a
because it's this
whole.
big little city.
Yeah, you lived up here, or you visited up
I
here.
I played tons of shows, and I have friends there in Kenosha. I spent a lot of time in Kenosha.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's devastating. I mean, I want to preface it by saying I'm so proud. That sounds patronizing, but I admire so many of the Black people here, the community groups that I followed, that I've shadowed, that I've reported on, who are making sure that their people still have goods and services and a life of dignity,
Mhm.
and that they create the kind of community that they want in light of businesses and the government abandoning them. Because when you go drive around to some of these places, I don't know the last time you've been here, but it's still like that. A factory that closed down, what, 40 years ago, there
Mhm.
nothing has replaced it. It is still sitting there in the middle of the city.